Our next presenter will be Kevin Culbert, and he will be talking about creating web maps for the First Battle of Bull Run.
All right. Thank you, everyone. As Iris mentioned, my name is Kevin Culbert, and I'd like to present to you my project, which is entitled Creating Web Maps for the First Battle of Bull Run. So, pretty much the idea for this came about while I was reading about the Civil War. Any Civil War book you read, the maps really, bring out the visualization of the battle. So I came up with the idea to kind of create these web maps that will give anyone interested in the American Civil War, and this battle in particular, just a resource to have when reading or researching the battle. And so my idea was to have these maps cover the entire day, the entire battlefield, and to be time enabled, which will show troop position movements throughout the course of the day. I will talk to you about, just real briefly about the battle, so we're all on the same page, kind of the importance behind it. Talk about the research, the data collection, which went hand in hand. Talk about how the maps were created. Actually take a look at the web application, and then talk about some conclusions. So, the First Battle of Bull Run was the first major battle of the Civil War. It occurred on July 21st, 1861, near Manassas, Virginia. And it's important for many reasons, not only being the first major battle of the Civil War, but it also led people to realize that it would not be a short war. On the onset of the Civil War, both sides kind of assumed that one battle would be it. And after this, it was not the case. They really realized it was going to be a long time before any resolution. So, where is Manassas, Virginia? Northern part of Virginia, only 25 miles west of Washington, D.C. So, basically 35,000 Union troops set out from Washington with the goal of making it to Richmond, and they encountered Confederate troops here at Manassas, Virginia. So to start, I had to research this to really piece together all the maps, the different times, find out the regiments, the brigades, the divisions, the names, positions throughout the day. And I could create a timeline and kind of piece this together through existing literature, maps, both historic and current, books, war reports, and first-hand accounts. There were actually people coming out that day just to view the battle as a spectacle. So there's actually some civilian accounts. Some of the historic maps I looked at, this is just a zoomed-in clip of a map published in 1877 entitled The Field at Bull Run. It provides a lot of important characteristics in terms of the land features. That stream running through is the Bull Run stream, and it has the names of all the fords, which are really important positions, militarily speaking. Another example, just another zoomed in clip, where you can actually see some Union divisions, their names, where they're located. And again, this is a clip of the Army Corps of Engineers, published in 1861, and it was used by Union generals when devising their plan. So just a few of the examples of the kind of things I was looking at to piece together my maps. Next, went into the data collection. I visited Manassas National Battlefield Park, which exists today as 5,000 protected acres, which is preserved to give you a representation of the land, how it sat that day. And I used a Trimble GPS Geo Explorer to collect things like landmarks and markers throughout the battlefield, which are used in descriptions of the battle, things like houses, hills, these fords, streams. So here's me at the Manassas National Battlefield Park. Here's an example of a landmark that sits there. It's called the Stone House, used as a military hospital, actually. Here are some artillery pieces still existing on the field in the location they would have been that day. And here's an example of markers that are found throughout the battlefield. The important thing to see here is the time. You have a timestamp, so it gives you who was where at this position, which is really crucial for me when I develop my kind of overview and timeline before putting my maps together. I knew a specific place and time, which helps when looking at these maps. So getting into the map creation, the maps were created using ArcMap 10.1, and I created a file geo database with feature data sets for Union, Confederates, and for a base map. So for this base map, I created the terrain, the forested areas, the streams. You can see Manassas Junction here, and I created it at different scales. So as you zoom in closer, more features will present themselves, things like these fords. As you zoom in further, these hills that are crucial when describing the battle. They will mention things like Buck Hill, the Stone House, Henry Hill. So I should also mention, after I created this base map, I published it on ArcGIS server, and I created a cache for it, which creates basically just tiles for these maps rather than creating it dynamically, which would, so in doing so, it saves a lot of time when you're in the application. The next was to create the layers for the Union and Confederate positions throughout the day. I created these for the divisions, the brigades, and the regiments, and I made sure they were all time enabled, which means that every time their position on the battlefield changes, that time, or that feature layer had to be recreated. So with 7 divisions, 25 brigades, and over 130 regiments, that can be very, very time consuming. So it was crucial that I use these domains in my geodatabase. I was able to enter the attributes for each division, brigade, regiment time, and symbol type. Inside these domains, they can be used throughout for any new feature class you create. And these domains are used to constrain the values allowed in any particular feature class. So I could set, for instance, a certain Union brigade. In my table, I was only allowed to select Union regiments, the time, the Union symbol types. And this makes everything much more efficient, keeps everything the same across the board, instead of having to recreate these attributes every time. So for example, here's just a clip of a Confederate table. This is in ArcMap. So I would select a brigade and just have a drop down of the Confederates I was allowed to select. So no Union brigades are here. Same thing with your time fields, since these are time enabled. The start time, end time, your regiments, only limited to Confederate in this case, and the symbol type. So again, just saves you a lot of time when you're creating so many feature classes. So after all that, I could finally publish these. They're published using ArcGIS server, and then the maps could be created using ArcGIS Online. And so this web application comes from ArcGIS Online as one of their story templates, and it just combines the different maps, and we can hopefully see how this all comes together here. Oh, that's not right. Okay, so as you can see, you're presented with 5 tabs. Each tab contains a different map. The first 4 maps walk you through the battle. So each time you click on a new map, it's going to update with a certain time and location specific, and have a description. Each map has the legend. And the final 5th map has the battle overview, which covers the whole field through the whole day. It's zoomed out so you can see everything at once. So going back to the first map here, again, this is 6 a.m. You can zoom in, zoom out. You can see what else is happening on other parts of the battlefield. The next map is time enabled. So again, you can zoom around. You can click on a regiment. There we have the 1st Louisiana Battalion under Shanks Evans. The division commander is PGT Beauregard. For the Union, that's the 2nd Rhode Island. Ambrose Birdside's the brigade commander, and David Hunter's the division commander. And every feature on there, you can access a pop-up that will tell you, which brigade, so forth. Also, the different landmark features, the stone house we saw earlier. If you want to get an idea of what that looks like, the Robinson House, which no longer exists today, but the foundation is there. We can look at the Henry House, which was rebuilt because it was just decimated in the battle. And the Stone Bridge, which also had to be rebuilt because the Confederates destroyed it after this battle. So again, this map is time enabled, so if I click play here, the time is going to elapse from 11 a.m. From 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. You'll see the troops move. Same thing for Henry Hill, 2 p.m. You have your description there. If you click play, all your features on the map are going to change positions for the next time. And again, you can zoom in, zoom out, look at any other part of the map you want. Click on any features. They're all set up the same way to show you the regiment, brigade commander, division commanders. Here's we have the Union retreat. And the final map, like I said, is just the overview. Tries to show the entire battle throughout the entire course of the day. So it too is time enabled. If you click through, the position is going to change for any given time. I'll show you your timestamp there. And again, you can toggle through with the time bar to get any particular time you want. And like the other maps, you can zoom in, zoom out, pan wherever you want, and you can access any pop-up for any feature to find out more information. So that's just a quick run through. If you're interested, take a look at it. It exists on ArcGIS Online. If you search Civil War, Bull Run, you should be able to find it. And if you want to learn more about this particular battle. So in conclusion, I just wanted to combine historical research with new technology to create new ways to look at the Civil War. And I'm hoping that this application will serve as a resource for anyone interested in the first Battle of Bull Run. Come here, read some books or information, and check out the web application. If I continue working with this project, I'd like to include some of the events that occurred before this day. There's a lot of key events prior to the specific day we have here, but if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.